Hello! We are live now. If you are here, say hello so I know that you're here with me. I am very, very excited to share this training with you all today. We are going through the ultimate guide to setting your macros. And first, we're going to just begin with a little bit of nutrition 101 so that you guys can understand maybe some of the jargon that I'm going to be using. So let's dive into this. If you are here with me and you want a copy of this slide deck, just type macros in the comments so that we can make sure that we get you a copy of this after the training today. So what we are going to do is I'm going to share my screen here and we are going to dive right into this nutrition 101. So before we dive into macros, I also want to just share a little bit about what macros are. You might hear this from other individuals. So micronutrients are the things that are very, very important to the body beyond just macros. One of my pet peeves with macros is IIFYM, if it fits your macros, right? This was something that was termed many years ago in the nutrition space. And so a lot of people just build their food focused on macros only, and we forget about the micros. Micros is where our food quality matters, as we are going to get the very good things that your body needs in terms of vitamins. Hopefully you guys can see that. Minerals. Sorry for my handwriting here. And electrolytes. If you guys been following us for a while, if you listen to the food code, you know that we talk all about the quality of food. And this is where one ingredient foods play a big role. They provide us a lot of these vitamins and minerals and the nutrients that our body needs to build itself up and function optimally. Electrolytes are also very important. When we look at water, which we're going to talk through today, sometimes we can dilute the electrolyte balance in the body by drinking too much water. And electrolytes are very important. They play a lot of roles in the body in terms of like enzymatic functions. So these are the important things in terms of micronutrients. All right, let's look at macronutrients. So if you're not familiar with macronutrients and what they do for your body, this is what makes up your calories. Okay, so first we have protein. Whoops. Okay, protein is 4 calories per gram. So your protein and your carbohydrates are 4 calories per gram. If you're weighing on, a scale or you're seeing on a nutrition label, which we'll go through as well, you see that there's 20 grams of carbohydrates. That's making 80 calories from those carbohydrates. Okay. Protein is really, really important as every single cell in your body is made up of protein. It provides us a lot of good amino acids. It also plays a big role in our energy throughout the day, as protein stimulates our neurotransmitter known as orexin. Okay, so we have building blocks, right? Those amino acids. We have energy from the neurotransmitter. And the other thing that I want to touch on is the importance of protein and fats play a role here as well in terms of blood sugar regulation. Now, we have a lot of trainings regarding the importance of protein. We also have a lot of trainings regarding the importance of keeping your blood sugar balanced and stable throughout the day. So we can link those here for you. But a lot of times when we see women struggling to lose weight or find themselves taking these energy dips throughout the day, this is very simply because their blood sugar is dysregulated. Maybe we have, a bagel or a donut or a bowl of cereal in the morning time, which is a carbohydrate that's going to spike our blood sugar levels. And there's no protein or fat present to keep us stable and counterbalance that glucose spike. And so we crash. And here we feel like crap. We find ourselves craving things, specifically carbohydrates and sugar. So it's very, very important in terms of blood sugar regulation. Blood sugar. All right, so then we have carbohydrates. Anybody here with me scared of carbohydrates? Maybe you've been doing a keto diet or a low carb diet for a while and you just fear carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are the quick energy source to the body. But again, we need to pair them with protein so that we are not getting that quick energy and then dropping down and crashing. They are instant energy. They also provide a lot of nutrients to the body, as if we're doing one ingredient, carbohydrates, we have a lot of good vitamins and minerals, as well as fibers coming in, let's say berries or beans, oatmeal, things like that. They can be very nutrient dense. And so we don't believe in cutting all carbs out of your diet, especially if you are somebody who strength trains or you exercise regularly. They're very, very important. So they are a primary energy or a primary fuel source. Okay, so they give us that quick energy. Let me back this up so you can read that. Fuel, energy, and they also help with digestion, okay, because of those fibers. So we need good fiber in the body. Fiber binds to toxins. It helps excrete toxins out of the body. It helps move things through your digestive tract. And so this is another reason why we would not recommend cutting out all carbohydrates. We'll talk a little bit about how you can set your balance here with your macros and your overall intake, but carbs really do play a big role in the body, again, especially if you are somebody who exercises regularly. And then we're going to talk about fats. So fats are 9 calories per gram. So fat can be very satiating. If you think about carbohydrates and fats as energy in the body, your carbohydrates are your kindling to the fire. They are the little spark plugs that get things going. Your fats are going to be the big logs that are slow burning and they can last for hours. So good, healthy fats can be very satiating and satisfying as well as sustaining. They also play a big role in blood sugar too, regulation, keeping you stable throughout the day as well as overnight. So that is one of the big benefits of fat, satiating. Again, I apologize here for my writing on this iPad, but they also store energy in the body. And so for sometimes, when we are feeling like, we're really low in blood sugar and we're really hungry, your body can, tap into that and use it as energy, stored energy. It also provides insulation to the body, right? Everybody has fat and it serves a purpose to protect our organs. So it is important. But one of the biggest roles of good, healthy fats that are anti-inflammatory is that they help build our hormones. They're building blocks of our hormones. And so a lot of times when we see women coming in that have not been eating enough fat or been on this very low fat diet, they may be struggling with some hormonal imbalances. So fat is definitely something not to shy away from. And this is where I would just encourage you, if you are tracking your food, start to pay attention to what is in your food, because there are different proteins that have fat in them as well. So let's think here like red meat, for example. Red meat compared to a chicken breast is going to have, more fat. So when you're tracking your food, that's a good benefit to see what is in that food. And we'll talk about why we track macros here in a moment. So hormones. And they also support our brain activity. Your brain is 60% fat. The good, healthy fats fuel your brain. We actually had a podcast that we did recently that talked about, is your diet making you dumber? Because a lot of these inflammatory fats, omega-6, high intake of fried foods, trans fats, hydrogenated oils, let's think here, canola oil, vegetable oil, things like that. That can actually cause inflammation in the body, inflammation in the brain, leading to brain fog. It can raise your LDL levels as well in terms of your cholesterol. Not a good thing. And it can cause joint pain, kind of aches and fatigue there as well. So we want fats, but we want good, healthy fats. All right, and then let's talk about alcohol. Anybody like a good glass of wine? So alcohol is kind of referred to as the fourth macronutrient. All right, so we'll say alcohol. And there's a lot of debate out there, but technically we refer to it as 7 calories per gram, okay? So let's have a little discussion about alcohol. Alcohol is a toxin to the body. It is unrecognizable. When we look at our immune system, your body is designed to recognize pathogens that are not meat. They are not self, right? Protein, carbs, and fats. We recognize those things because of those micronutrients that come in that build our body up. We don't recognize alcohol. And so your body is going to work first to metabolize alcohol and excrete it from the body. It's a great time. I love a good glass of wine. I'm not saying that you have to cut out alcohol entirely, but if you are somebody who overconsumes it, you also are probably not immune to the pesky hangovers, right? It creates inflammation in the body. It's very dehydrating because it is a toxin. So we recommend, kind of limiting this. If you want to track your alcohol as a macro, technically, like from your calories, you can either track it as carbs or you could track it as fats, okay? So the other big thing is it does slow down metabolism. Okay, so some research shows us for every drink that we have, your body is metabolizing that first before it's metabolizing other nutrients that are present. Let's say you go out to dinner and you enjoy a glass of wine or two with your food, your body's going to metabolize that first, and so it can lead to fat storage, especially if we find ourselves in the tacos late night after too many drinks. All right, so then we're going to talk about water. So water is the most important nutrient in the body. Yet, most Americans live in a chronic state of dehydration. The number one sign of dehydration is fatigue. Anybody out there struggle with fatigue? So how much water should you be drinking? Well, this is very person independent, as we say, bio-individual. A good target range for women is anywhere in the ballpark of 74 to 77 ounces, or you could also go with half your body weights, okay? Body weight in ounces. So for me, I am someone who weighs about 148 pounds. I generally try to do 3 liters of water a day, primarily because I also work out, I train, I sweat, and so therefore I lose water through sweating. Obviously, we lose it when we urinate as well. But if you are somebody that sweats a lot, you may want to, increase your water intake. I don't believe you need to be close to a gallon, but 3 liters is a good place. Or for women, 74 to 77 ounces is good. All right. So, any questions? Here, pop them in the comment section, and I will make sure that I answer those as we go. I think it's really, really important to understand the why behind macros, because we can, certainly demonize having to track calories. We can demonize that it can create a poor relationship with food. We believe that macronutrients and tracking your food are a tool, and so we want to use them in certain seasons. The number one benefit is to learn what is food. What is in my food? What is food? Right? How many calories does it have in it? Where those calories come from? Do they come from protein? Do they come from carbs? Do they come from fats? Another big piece, if you're tracking, is to see in your meal, how balanced is my meal? Do I have a high amount of carbohydrates with little to no protein or fat? Again, that's going to spike your blood sugar. That's going to create this dysregulated blood sugar up and down swings. We don't want that. It can create a lot of other dysfunction in the body. So this is also one thing that I would have you, consider for yourself, is there's a lot of flexibility when we are tracking macros. So again, not in that space of if it fits your macros, we can build this from pizza and burgers and cookies, but it does allow you to have flexibility with your diet, which is a great thing because we want to have balance, right? So flexibility. And it also allows us to track and analyze what makes us feel good. So for example, let's say you are comparing how you feel after you eat, I'll just call it a Chipotle bowl. I love Chipotle bowls. How do I feel after I eat a Chipotle bowl that's got some rice, some beans, some protein, maybe some guacamole, some salsa in there? Do I feel good? Do I have good sustained energy for the 2, 3, 4 hours afterwards? Or do I get really tired and sluggish? You could compare that to a processed food. Let's say pizza, right? Everybody loves pizza. So with pizza particularly, how do you feel afterwards? Do you get tired? Do you feel sluggish? Do you have an upset stomach? Digestively, how do you feel? Those are very important pieces. And so when you are tracking your food, you're also able to kind of track some of those trends with how you feel. Okay. And another big thing here that I would say in terms of macronutrients and tracking is to also understand how many processed foods we eat in a day. Sometimes we think that we are eating really, really good, but yet we go back and we analyze how many labels did I have, and also my sugar consumption. You can get a lot of added sugars in a lot of different products. Over 68% of the items in our stores have added sugar. And so this allows you to see other data as well and analyze those things. If you are here for fat loss and you're here for weight loss, we want to optimize that by optimizing your health first. And that starts with one ingredient, whole food products, and minimizing the labels. I'm not saying you can never have anything that has a label on it or is processed, but we do want to keep, a good balance of one ingredient foods to those that have labels on them, and then also keeping kind of track of our sugar. It can also show you your fiber levels as well. Okay. So what are some of the tools that I can use to track my macros? So very commonly, MyFitnessPal is used. We also have My Macros Plus is another app. So there's several different apps out here. Lose It is good. My Macros, Lose It. And then there's also one that is called My Plate. If you're working with a coach, you've probably used MyFitnessPal in the past because it gives your coach the ability to go in and see all of your food as well. You can make some notes there. It's a pretty user-friendly app. It's very wide variety of foods that you can find in there to track. And I like the breakdown when we look at the nutrients tab. It shows us like our protein, carbs, and fats, not just in the ratios, but also the amount of grams that we consumed compared to what our goal was for the day. How do we make this more accurate when tracking as well? Are we eyeballing things by using, our hand as our guide to see, is this a cup roughly, or is this 4 to 6 ounces roughly? So you can always use a food scale. It's very easy. It really doesn't take a lot of time at all. One thing that I do is just set my bowl on the food scale. I zero it out. I add, let's say a Chipotle bowl here. I add rice or beans, see how many, grams that is or how many ounces that is, zero it out, add my chicken, add all my toppings, and it's easy and more accurate to track that way. So you can get a digital scale. Very, very cheap on Amazon. They think they're like maybe $10 to $12. I like the digital scales. Or you can go old school and have one of the old school scales that is like tipping and you have like the barometer there, right? So then the question becomes, what am I looking at when I am reading labels? Okay, again, I apologize for the chicken scratch here, but so let's say this is our nutrition label. On the front of the package, it says 100 calories. Well, is it 100 calories for the whole thing? Or is a serving 100 calories? So you're gonna have your serving size. Okay. And serving size is going to tell you it might be half a cup or let's say 1 ounce is a serving size. Then it's going to tell you servings per container. Might be 4 servings per container. So if you weren't reading the nutrition label and you were just looking at the front, you might mistakenly eat 400 calories thinking it's only 100 calories. So we need to pay attention to the nutrition label. And then on the nutrition label, you are also going to find the calories per servings, of course, per servings. So that's 100. You're going to find your protein content. Let's say it's just, a protein source. We'll go like 1.5 grams, let me back this up. First is your fats. Okay, so fats at the top, say 1.5. Then if you look further down the label, you're going to see carbohydrates. Okay, so we'll say that this one has 1 gram of carbs. And then you're going to see under that your dietary fiber, and you'll see sugar and then added sugar. Those things I also pay attention to. And then your protein. Okay, so in this, we have 21 grams protein, 1 gram of carbs, 1.5 grams of fats. So it's important to pay attention to where those calories are coming from, because oftentimes things are marketed to you very well, and you again think that you're eating 100 calories and this might be healthy, but then you recognize, oh man, there's a lot of added sugar in it. There could be things on the ingredient label that you just don't do well with in terms of added sugar or even added fibers in some products. So pay attention to the labels as well as the ingredient list. So how do I calculate my macros? Okay, I'm going to walk you through this very simply. This is very bio-individual, so I cannot recommend a specific targeted percentage for everybody, but this is a guide to help get you started. So very simply, we're going to start with your maintenance. And I'm going to use myself as an example. I'm going to ballpark at 150 calories. My maintenance is anywhere in the ballpark of 12 to 14 times my body weight. If I don't work out, I'm going on that lower end of sedentary. If I am moderately active, I'm going with 13. If I am highly active, I'm going with 14 times my body weight. All right. So you're going to take your body weight times 12 to 14. So I am very, very active. I am going to set it at 14. 2,100 calories is my estimated maintenance intake. Okay, so now my goal is to lose weight, right? So let's say that you have been dieting for a while and you've been trying to do 1,200 calories because that's what MyFitnessPal told you to do. You may need to spend some time reversing your intake up. There's no other place to go from here. If you're already at 1,200 calories, you can see that's a really large deficit, right? It's a 900 calorie deficit. That's way too big for the body to handle day to day. Or let's say you are doing 1,200 calories Monday through Friday and then 3,000, 4,000 calories on the weekends because we go out and we enjoy some things. There's no consistency here. And so I would encourage you to spend some time just getting consistent at your maintenance. And then let's talk through if we're going to set our calorie goal for a deficit. Again, it's very bio-individual, depends upon your previous dieting history. But in general, for fat loss, we go 20 to 30% deficit off of your maintenance, or 300 to 500 calories down, right? And so if I am going to do my fat loss phase and I'm going to go on the higher end of like 500 calories, that's going to put me at 1,600 calories a day to consume. And now I need to figure out where those calories come from, right? Like how should I break up and divide this into my macros? Very, very important, as we talked about already, protein is king, queen. I always say calories are king, protein is queen, okay? Protein is one macronutrient that most people undereat, yet it plays so many important roles in the body. And if your goal is fat loss, you want to maintain as much muscle mass, keeping you in an anabolic state of building and repairing rather than catabolizing muscle, where your body is essentially taking muscle, breaking it down for energy. You need to be eating adequate protein. So what does that look like? Whoop. Adequate protein, you are going to take your body weight in pounds, right, times 0.7 to 1 gram per pound of your body weight, okay? That's going to give you your grams per day. For me as an individual that is active, I generally go on the upper end here of 0.9 to 1 grams per pound of body weight. So I take that, and let's say that is, I'm just going to go with 1 gram because that's easy for math, 150 grams per day times 4. Okay, that is going to be 600 calories, if my math is correct here. So now I have 1,000 calories left. After I've hit my protein targets, now I have 1,000 calories left. How do I want to split and divide that up? There's a couple of mathematical equations you can do here, or very simply, I'm just going to say any female that is in a fat loss phase should not be under 45 to 50 grams minimum. That is our absolute minimum for healthy fats a day, because again, you're building your hormones from good quality healthy fats, and you're getting fat soluble vitamins from the fats that you consume. So vitamin A, D, E, and K, very, very important. So you can say 0.3, body weight times 0.3 Okay, so for me, that's going to equal 45 grams a day. And then you could also adjust this, right? So I would like to be closer to the 50 grams a day. So I could say 50 grams coming from my fats per day, and then the rest would come from my carbohydrates. So hopefully that makes sense for you. So you would basically take the, or this should say 45. Sorry, guys. First time doing this, so hopefully this is helpful for me to write it out for you. Okay, so quick math here. 45 times 9, because we know that for fats, each gram is 9 calories. That is 405 calories. Okay, so now from my 1,000 calories that I had left after I hit my protein goal, right? So I have 150 grams of protein. I have 45 grams of fats. That's leaving me with 595 calories, because I'm in a deficit, divided by 4, I get 148 grams of carbohydrates a day from fat. Okay, so then I have when I send out the replay, I will make this prettier for you guys so you can see that. So this is 600 calories in protein, 405 calories from fats, and 595 calories from carbohydrates. So you might be saying, well, Liz, I think that that's way too many carbohydrates. What do I do in that scenario? Maybe you want to be a little bit lower carb. That's totally fine. So I'm going to just walk you through very briefly some splits that you could do. So in general, when you go into an app, traditionally like MyFitnessPal, they are going to be telling you to eat 50% carbohydrates. It's generally what we always see. In my opinion, that's way too much. If you are not extremely active, probably don't need that many carbohydrates, and you are under eating your protein significantly. I believe the generic settings are 20% protein, 30% fat, 50% carbohydrates in an app, MyFitnessPal. You can see how far that is skewed, why it doesn't work for a lot of people. And so that's just your MyFitnessPal recommendation. So it's saying 50% carbs, 20 protein, 30 fat. I don't like that. So I'm going to X-nay this and say, if I am an athlete now, I'm somebody who is very, very active, then maybe I stick with the macros that I just set before, right? And that gives me roughly, 30, 35% of each. So it's pretty equal here. So an athlete, though, may want more carbohydrates. And so then we have to decide, where do we pull from? Maybe I pull my protein down slightly because I don't want those fats to fall below 45. And then I give myself a little bit more carbohydrates. But just in general, let's say you're doing 30% protein. You would now have, I don't think I'm going to write that correctly. So if I want to divide this into 3, so I have 30% protein, 35 fats, 35 carbs. Oh, you guys need to see this. Now you can see that. Okay, so this is just kind of in general for weight loss. If you want to be lower carb, what I would recommend is that you split this a little bit differently. So we're going to close this up on the top, and we're going to do, let's say, 20 to 25% carb. Give or take 35 and 35% of protein. For some individuals, you may not hit that. Maybe it's too much for you to hit every day. So you would maybe go 30% protein, and then the rest would be coming from your fats. So this is anywhere between 45 and 50% fats. Okay, this is somebody who I'm going to put here is weight loss, low carb, more for those of you who are sedentary. So I hope that this was helpful. A lot of times I think we get, really overwhelmed. Oh, I'm going to screen share this again so you can see that. So this would be the weight loss low carb plate, the split here, 20 to 25% carbs, 30% protein, and the 40 to 50% of your fats, depending upon that 5% window, either way with carbs and protein. My biggest advice for anybody who is new to macros is to spend some time eating at maintenance, getting your protein up to an adequate protein place. Take your body weight times 0.7 to 1 gram per pound. See how far off you are from that. Work your way up. If you're eating 60 grams of protein a day, don't flip the switch to 150 grams of protein. Start slowly building your protein intake up. You're naturally going to push out what we usually see is a lot of processed carbs in our diet that we generally gravitate towards. That's going to help with energy. It's going to help with fat loss. It's going to help with so many things. So I hope that you all enjoyed this, and we will send out this workbook. If you did not already, type in the comments macros. We'll make sure that you get a copy of the workbook. I will type this out for you so my chicken scratch isn't in here for you, because I know that it's probably a little bit hard to see or read from this. But thank you guys so much for joining me today, and I hope you have a fabulous Friday. Have a wonderful weekend.